She had always been the kind of person who followed her own rules. Not the loud kind of rules people brag about, but quiet ones, the kind you build slowly after learning difficult lessons. Rules that protect you, rules that keep your life simple, safe, and predictable. 4 years. She lived by them without question. Don't get too close to people who bring chaos. Don't trust feelings that arrive too suddenly. And most importantly, never allow yourself to cross a line you can't uncross. Those rules had guided her through moments where others lost control. They kept her steady when life became complicated. Friends even admired her for it. They used to say she had discipline, that she always knew when to step back before things went too far. And she believed that too, until the night she broke her own rule. The strange part was that it didn't start with rebellion or recklessness. It started with something far more dangerous: curiosity. The evening had been quiet, the kind of ordinary night people forget the moment it ends. Nothing dramatic, nothing exciting, just another routine day, slowly fading into darkness. But somewhere during that quiet evening, something felt slightly different. At first, she ignored it. A small shift in the atmosphere, a subtle tension she couldn't explain. She told herself she was imagining things. After all, life had been calm lately. Too calm, maybe. Sometimes calm has a way of making people restless. She noticed the feeling when she looked at her phone. A simple message. Nothing unusual about it. Just a few words that could have meant absolutely nothing. But somehow, those few words lingered in her mind longer than they should have. She stared at the screen for a moment. Then, another moment. Her rule was clear. Don't respond to things that complicate your life. It had saved her before. It would save her again. So she placed the phone down and walked away, convincing herself the situation was already over. But thoughts have a strange way of following you. Minutes later, the message was still in her mind. Not because it was important, but because it made her feel something she hadn't expected. A quiet pull. Not strong enough to force a decision, but strong enough to stay. She tried distracting herself. She turned on the television, scrolled through random things, even stepped outside for a moment of fresh air. Yet somehow, the same question kept returning. What if I just replied? It would be harmless. Just one response, one small conversation. Her rule echoed in her mind again. Don't start something you shouldn't continue. She knew the rule existed for a reason, because she had learned the hard way that some conversations open doors that are difficult to close again. And she had promised herself long ago that she would never make that mistake twice. But curiosity is patient. It doesn't shout. It waits, slowly wearing down the certainty you once had. She picked up the phone again, almost without realizing it. The message was still there, waiting silently. No pressure, no demand. Just an invitation. Her heart beat a little faster as she stared at the screen. This was the moment where people usually walked away, where they stayed loyal to their own boundaries, where they proved their rules actually meant something. And for a few seconds, she almost did exactly that. She nearly put the phone down, nearly walked away, nearly protected the version of herself she had carefully built over the years. But then another thought appeared. A dangerous one. What if it's not a big deal? What if this time is different? Those words slipped quietly into her mind like a whisper, and whispers can be louder than warnings. Her thumb hovered above the screen. She could feel the tension of the moment, even though nothing dramatic was happening. Just a simple decision. Reply or don't. A small choice most people would never think twice about. But for her, it meant something bigger, because she knew exactly what it represented. If she responded, she wouldn't just be sending a message. She would be breaking her own rule, the rule that had protected her for years, the rule that defined the person she believed she was. The room was silent as the seconds passed. 5, 6, 10s, long enough for her to hear every argument inside her mind. Walk away. Ignore it. Stay the person you promised yourself you would be. But curiosity was stronger than discipline in that moment. And before she could stop herself, she replied. The message was short, simple, completely harmless to anyone who might read it. But the second she pressed send, a strange realization settled over her. Something had changed. Not outside. The world continued moving exactly the same way it had a minute earlier. But inside her mind, a line had quietly disappeared. She leaned back, staring at the phone in her hand, feeling a mix of emotions she couldn't fully name. Excitement, uncertainty, and somewhere deep down, the faint understanding that this small moment might lead somewhere she never intended to go, because breaking a rule once makes it easier to break it again. And the truth she would only understand later was this. The moment she sent that message wasn't the real mistake. The real mistake was convincing herself that one small rule didn't matter. Because sometimes the smallest decisions are the ones that quietly change the direction of everything.